Hi you guys. I've been thinking on how to do this video and I've been struggling with doing this video. Um, I kind of wanted to give you an idea of the day that I got the phone call and the events leading up to that phone call. And yeah, I'm sitting on my purple couch. Eat your hearts out, ladies. Anyways, so I've got my tissues here and my drink, and we're gonna do this the best I can. And you can see my lovely, in the background, my wedding photo collage, and a lot of my son's pictures in there. It says love above, and I just kind of felt like this is a good area to do it. So the morning that he passed, we didn't find out until later, but it was a little after 1:30 in the morning was time of death. And it was a Thursday night. He just got home from work. Sorry. And he passed away. But we didn't know. I woke up in a sheer panic that morning. Didn't know why. Jumped out of bed, looked around. Couldn't see anything wrong. Didn't understand why I was feeling this way. So, and I was meeting friends in like 3 hours to drive to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho from Kuna. And, for her wedding, their wedding, I was going with the bride and the groom. And I didn't want to drive that far by myself all of a sudden. And that's not normal for me. People that know me, I travel all the time. I will drive days. Freaks my husband out, but I do it all the time. But for some reason, I just didn't want to. I was worried about the weather. I don't know. There was just something about it. So I met them at the gas station. And of course, they were a little later, but I just hung out and got some coffee. Well, I don't even really usually drink coffee, but for some reason I was so tired and I grabbed coffee. And I sat and talked to the guy behind the counter, thought it was going to be a good day. So we're driving to Coeur d'Alene. We hit a rainstorm. It was a pretty good rainstorm. If I would have known that, I probably would have realized it was telling me to stop and just go back home. And then we hit a snowstorm. And we made it through the snowstorm. We made it to Coeur d'Alene. And then Sandra and Ben had to go do some wedding stuff, get checked in, talk to somebody, and I can't remember everything that was going on that morning anymore, but so I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll go have breakfast. And I went to this really cute, charming cafe, and I was sitting there, and I had the most amazing breakfast. I ate so much food, it was stupid ridiculous, but I love food. So I had my awesome breakfast, and then Sandra called me and she's like, we're done, come meet back up with us. I gotta go get my hair done, but then Ben has other things to do, and I was like, okay. So I met up with Sandra, and I get a phone call, and it was one of my son's coworkers letting me know that Sebastian didn't show up to work last night, and they called and did a well check. It is now Saturday morning, and my son has Asperger's, so he's always hours and hours ahead of time. If I was the one walking in right at time, like I was late in his eyes, which happened all the time. I'm not very good at like being there way before. I walk in right when I have to be there. And they didn't call me that night, which if they would have, I probably would have ran straight over to his apartment. But he was already gone, so it wouldn't have mattered. But she was telling me she didn't want to make this phone call. I can't remember if it was Brittany or Bridget, or it was one of his coworkers. And, she told me that they did a well check and Sebastian had passed away. And I hung up on her. I didn't believe her. I was in shock. I hung up on her and I called my son probably like 10 times in a row. And it went straight to voicemail every time. And then I get another phone call from another one of his coworkers. I think it was his boss this time. And I just didn't know. I just didn't know what to do, what to say. I asked her if she was sure. She's like, Crystal, I'm with the cops right now at his apartment and I'm not leaving. I've got to give my statement. Can you come down? And I was in Coeur d'Alene, so I couldn't. So I called my husband, because now I'm just kind of panicked, and I want it to be a lie. And I sent him to the apartments. And Sandra is just holding me. She doesn't know what's going on. And then I tell her to call my boss, and that I'm not coming back to work for I don't know how long. And eventually, I think I got out that Sebastian passed away. And, she's like, it's her wedding day, and I feel like I just ruined it. And she's like, Crystal, I will take you, do whatever you gotta do. I was like, I just gotta get home. She's like, okay, we'll book your flight. I'm gonna go finish my trim really quick, and then we'll get you to the airport. I don't know. I couldn't go inside the building. It was probably like 20 degrees outside. I had a sweater on. I didn't have any gloves. But I didn't feel the cold. I didn't feel anything. And I numbly booked my plane ticket. I didn't even know where I was at that point. And, of course, I booked my plane ticket wrong. And let me tell you how unthoughtful airlines can be. But I'll go into that in a little bit. And then I called my best friend, and she knew something was wrong, and she just told me she was getting on a plane. I don't even think she understood me. I was trying to get it out, and I was just bawling. And I don't know if she understood, but she drove straight to the airport and got on a plane. I was crying and screaming on a sidewalk. Some little kid, not little, I mean, he was probably a teenager, early 20s, came out, asked me if I was okay, if there was anything he could do, and all I could do was stare at him. And he sat with me for a minute, not knowing what was going on, and then he went back in, and he's like, but if you need anything, I'm just in this building, right here, and then I finally go in, and I think I have my flight booked home, and I tell her what time it is, and she's like, okay, we're gonna get you to the airport, and I booked it from Seattle instead of Spokane on accident in the middle of my freaking out. So I called the airlines when I realized what I did, and I told the lady that I just had to get home. Like, I had to get home, like, now. My son passed away, and I just had to get home. And the girl on the phone, I'm pretty sure it was Alaska Airlines, oh, that's gonna be $400 more for that plane ticket to switch. And I was like, I don't fucking care right now. I just have to get home. My son just passed away. and she did switch my plane ticket. She put me on a flight that had a 4-hour layover in Seattle. And then would have flown to Boise. And at this point, I've probably spent almost $1,000 on a plane ticket to get home. I just needed to get home. That's all I knew. I had to get home. So, Sandra drops me off at the airport and she's like, Crystal, I don't want to leave you like this. And I was like, and she had my car and she agreed to, she drove my car all the way back after the wedding, after they did their stuff, and which it didn't matter. I mean, I'm grateful they did that, don't get me wrong. I'm so grateful they did that, and it didn't matter that it was going to be a week or so until they got back. And I was like, no, I'll be fine. I'm just going to sit in the airport. I couldn't even call any of my family. I did talk to my Aunt Donna. Only through, not on the phone though, just through like texting. She just wanted to make sure it was okay, and all of a sudden I just had an overwhelming, I just wanted a drink. I needed a drink. What do you do? I couldn't feel anything. I was numb. I knew I had to get home. And I'm stuck in this airport until I get to fly home. And then I have a 3-hour layover in another airport. And I walk into the bar area and they wouldn't serve me any alcohol because they didn't have any tables. And it's still in the middle of COVID, and she's like, I can't serve you until you're sitting at a table. It's like, what if I stand right here at the bar? And she's like, no, I can't, unfortunately, with their regulations and whatever. So I waited ever so impatiently for a table. And I sat there, and I ordered my drink. And I almost finished my drink, and the waitress comes back over, and she's like, do you need anything else? I was like, I don't know, what do you suggest when you just lost your kid? Like, it just came out. Like, it didn't sound very heartfelt, it didn't sound, but I was lost. I was broken. I hurt. And I still didn't want it to be true. So, this waitress gave me the biggest hug. She had 2 little girls herself, and she just couldn't imagine, and she didn't know what to say, and all she wanted to do was hug me. And it was in the middle of COVID, and I think I just needed that hug. So she hugged me. And then I knew I had a lot longer to get home. So I didn't want to keep drinking. And so I asked her for my bill. And there was this really nice sister. They were sisters, and then the one sister's husband, they paid for all of my alcohol. They asked the waitress what was wrong with me. They could just sense something was wrong, and they then asked me to join them. And then they were going to Boise too. They actually live here. They told me I'm now family. They were so upset with the airlines. They dragged me to the counter and got my flight switched to a direct flight. They had actually been stuck for 2 days because of a snowstorm, and they were finally going to be able to fly out, and that's when they met me. So we were destined to meet each other, right? I mean, I believe that. Like, just a bunch of weird coincidences that happened. And so for these people to be stuck in an airport or in a town for 2 extra days, because they knew I'd be stubborn and wouldn't listen to the signs. And they even offered to give up their seats so I could get home. Luckily, they didn't have to give up their seats. It cost me another $100 to switch my flight again. But when you're grieving and upset, you just don't care. You just want to get home. So, the nice lady behind the counter, though, I can't remember her name, at the airport. She worked really hard. She actually moved a seat of another lady because of COVID. At that point, they weren't letting you sit next to people, and you had to be at least a seat between you, or a seat in the middle, or whatever. So she had a lady. I thought the lady was bumped off the flight, but turns out she wasn't. She was flying with her son. She just got put in the seats with her son, and that gave me a seat. And the lady came up to me and she reassured me. She's like, I don't know what you're going through, but I feel like I have to hug you, and I didn't get kicked off the flight, so don't worry about it. I just hope that things work out for you. This lady, complete stranger, had no clue what I was going through. I couldn't stop bawling. And she hugged me, and that was the last time I saw her. The 2 sisters and the husband didn't leave my side the whole time at the airport. They sat with me the whole time. They got me home. They actually gave me, the one lady's daughter actually is a funeral director. Ironic, right? In Meridian. And her name was April, my sister's name. And she is who actually did Sebastian's viewing and printed out all of she helped us plan everything and do everything. And without my best friend and her, I don't think I would have got anything done, because I didn't get out of bed for days. But I still talk to April. I keep meaning to text her mom and her aunt, but I still have a hard time leaving the house when I'm not working. I don't like going to the store. I don't like being around people. I get very emotionally drained very easy. I'm a social butterfly, so it's hard for me. But I just felt like I was meant to meet all these people. And I got home, and I wanted to wait for them because they were so nice and so helpful. And they told me to go. They didn't want me to wait. And I practically ran out of the airport, and Trey was waiting for me. And they said if he wasn't there, they'd drive me home. I just met these people, and they were truly amazing and just very sweet. And so I finally got home. And then we picked up Angie an hour after I got home. I just was grateful to be home and with Troy and to have my best friend there. And I still felt numb. Troy said they wouldn't let him up into the apartment, which is probably a good thing. But he did say it was Sebastian. And that was the day that I got the phone call. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. And I really hope that this helps some of you guys. There was a very interesting podcast that I listened to the other day. My friend from Australia, Teresa, sent it to me. And this woman lost her kid at 17 from a gym accident. He was at the gym working out, and she showed up to pick him up. And a lot of what she said, it really hit home with me, because it's kind of how I felt, or I feel still. I feel like I don't belong anywhere. My heart hurts. But I'll go into more of that later, and some stuff that I've done to try to cope with my grieving. But I wanted you guys to understand, there's good things that can come out of it too. I've made some amazing friends. I met an amazing woman that just really cared about my son and did the best she could for his viewing. And she helped us get some amazing souvenirs. I'll go into all that later. And that, like, all of my nieces and nephews have little memorabilias of my son, which is what I really wanted. I wouldn't want him to not be remembered. But, okay, I'm gonna stop because this is starting to become a very long video, and I don't want my videos too long. So, alright, love you guys, and I hope this helps somebody.